Despite official denials by leaders of the free world, sources now confirm the existence of MegaForce, a phantom army of super elite fighting men whose weapons are the most powerful science can devise. Their mission, to preserve freedom and justice, battling the forces of tyranny and evil in every corner of the globe. Welcome to Couch Potato Theater here on the Fandom Podcast Network. On Couch Potato Theater, we celebrate our favorite movies. You may own your favorite movies digitally or in physical media. However, when they air on cable TV, you love what you're watching so much, you don't get off that couch. And that is the definition of what our show is all about. My name is Kevin, and I'm very proud to announce for this special Couch Potato Theater, we are proud to celebrate MegaForce 1982. It's celebrating its 40th anniversary, and this is the Couch Potato Theater Remash. But I can't do this alone. I got to bring in my fellow MegaForce members here, starting, of course, my brother from another mother, and also the co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network. With me here is Mr. Kyle Wagner.
Kevin, bear with me because there's something moving in the air tonight. Something moving at the speed of light, and it's calling to you. And I'm coming on like a MegaForce.
Excited to have you here, man. But Kyle, we're not done with our MegaForce group here. Got to bring in one of our favorite friends of the show and huge fan of this movie, MegaForce. Please welcome Mr. Davis Grayson. Davis, welcome to MegaForce.
Well, hello, everybody. How is everyone doing?
Doing really good, man. Doing really good. So, hey, Kyle.
Yeah.
Why are we calling this Couch Potato Theater the Remash of MegaForce?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, let's talk. This is a historic event on the Fandom Podcast Network and Couch Potato Theater as we are doing our first ever potato remash. If you get the little MegaForce was one of the very first Couch Potato Theaters we did, and it is a film that when Kevin and I first became friends and we found out we had this in common, we were like, no, it went to the top of the list of we must do a Couch Potato Theater on. We have bonded over this movie in ways that we will not talk about on this podcast, but it is an exciting time to do MegaForce. It's the 40th anniversary. I'm feeling a little old, but this is a great film. And Kevin, I always consider this kind of our precursor to modern day G.I. Joe.
That's a great point, actually, Kyle. Now, we're talking about this MegaForce, right? Just to be clear, we're not talking about this MegaForce, Power Rangers MegaForce.
It's Morphin' Time.
We're not talking about more Power Rangers Super MegaForce.
Wait a minute. We're not? I'm out.
No, Power Ranger fans. We are discussing the 1982 classic MegaForce. There we go. Yeah, celebrating its 40th anniversary. It came out in, I think it was June 25th, if I remember correctly, 1982. And really, really excited to talk about this. Now, before we do that, though, I want to give you a quick little introduction, a little bit of history about MegaForce here. MegaForce, 1982 action film directed by former stuntman Hal Needham and written by James Whitaker, Albert S. Ruddy, Hal Needham, and Andre Morgan, based on a story by Robert S. Kochler. The film starring Barry Bostwick, Persis Khambatta, Michael Beck, Edward Mulhare, and Henry Silva. The film was poorly received by critics, bombed at the box office. It was nominated for 3 Golden Raspberry Awards, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. A little bit of a plot description here, guys. The conflict begins with 2 countries, the peaceful Republic of Sardoon and their aggressive neighbor, Gamibia. Unable to defend themselves from the Gamibian incursion, Sardoon sends Major Zera and General Burnwhite to ask the help of MegaForce, a secret army composed of international soldiers from many different countries. And the leader is Commander Ace Hunter. He will lead the mission to destroy the Gamimbian forces, which are led by his rival and former military academy friend Duke Guerrera. While Hunter composes an elaborate battle plan to destroy Guerrera's forces, Zera tries out to become a member of MegaForce. As she executes the various tests, Hunter's feelings of affection toward her grow, and while she passes the test, he is unable to allow her to participate in their raid because her presence as an outsider would disrupt the trust and familiarity of his force. Eventually, MegaForce successfully paradrops its attack vehicles into Gamimbia, and Hunter mounts his sneak attack against Guerrera's forces. Although they manage to destroy his base, they are told by General Burnwhite and that Sardoon has decided that they will not be allowed to cross the border into the country because they consider MegaForce too dangerous a global organization. What? At the same time, Guerrera has set up a trap for the team's only means of escape, a dry lake bed where the cargo planes will pick them up. Guerrera sends his tanks to secure the lake bed while Hunter comes up with a plan to attack Guerrera. From behind, by crossing over a mountain range, the enemy attack tanks had turned their back towards. The plan succeeds and MegaForce manages to break through Guerrera's tanks, but one of MegaForce's cargo planes is damaged in the process. Having to abandon their high-tech vehicles, which they programmed to self-destruct, the team successfully makes it on foot to the last plane, except for Hunter, the commander. Instead, makes his own dramatic escape on his motorcycle after it deploys airfoils and a rocket motor and catches up with a cargo plane in midair. Although he has lost the battle, Guerrera shows admiration for Hunter's cunning, and he gives his old friend a thumbs up. MegaForce is celebrating its 40th anniversary. All right, guys. Woo! Does that just get you excited, that plot? You know?
I was already excited because I just finished watching this 5 minutes before we started.
Davis, did you just rewatch it recently as well?
I have watched it twice in the past 24 hours. I was just finishing watching it right before we started here. I just wanted to see if I missed anything, if I caught anything differently, and just wanted to have some old nostalgic vibes.
You know, I got to tell you guys, we watched it again too. It's such an easy watch because it's paced well. It's like an hour and 35 minutes or something like that.
1:39, I think, is the clock time of it.
1:39. It just seems to blow by. There's no pacing issues forever for me, but we got to ask the big question. When and where did you first see this film? Kyle.
Okay, so I'm not even going to lie about this. I did not see this in the theater. I don't even think it made it to the theater in Alaska. So let's fast forward about a year when young Kyle Wagner's parents get the first version of cable available in Fairbanks, Alaska, Spectrum.
Nice.
And what you get with Spectrum was a dial box on the top of your TV and HBO. And what happened to be a regular occurrence on HBO in the early 80s? Why? MegaForce. So young Kyle sees MegaForce with cool vehicles, flying motorcycles, smoke coming out of chutes, all that stuff. As soon as the VHS is bought, one of the first things he records is MegaForce, which was on one of his classic VHS doubleheader tapes of the 80s. In fact, a very appropriate 1982, as we are
Can I
talking
guess?
Also time.
No.
Yeah, go ahead,
I know.
ask.
No, I know it is because we did it. We did the VHS doubleheader special on, and I don't want to spoil it. You go ahead.
Yeah. I had MegaForce and Beastmaster as a doubleheader on a VHS video. So it is very appropriate as we are also on our Time Warp show covering the films of 1982.
This is true. Thank you for the plug. Make sure you check that out. We are going to be doing a new episode soon, and I think MegaForce might be mentioned in that one. Okay, Davis, I need to ask you, when and where did you first see MegaForce?
Well, I did not see it in the theater. I know that much. And I think it was until I was much older because it was never on because we didn't have Showtime when I was growing up or HBO, wherever it appeared on. But it was much later and I loved it. I thought it was a nice homage to G.I. Joe for sure because, I mean, international team, it would have been done really well. And you're right. It is a fast pace. It's a little campy in some parts, but it's that feel good type of movie, so to speak, that you just love to watch.
Excellent point. Well, guys, I actually did see this in a theater, but I had to deceive my mom. She gave me money to go see another movie, and I believe it was Bambi being re-released in the theater because she's such a big Disney fan, and we may have seen it on TV. And so she gave me some money, and I went down to our local theater here in Santa Barbara. I think it was Fiesta 4 at the time. Now Fiesta 5. They added a theater, and I snuck in to see MegaForce instead after I paid for Bambi. And I was just enthralled in the theater. And I remember there was an old guy. I shouldn't say old right now because I'm probably about maybe 15, 20 years near his age now. But he was with his wife. And I remember towards the end when it was just getting exciting, he was going, MegaForce, MegaForce. And I was looking over going, this guy, it's awesome. It's awesome. And then, of course, I remember they were replaying it on TV and stuff. And then eventually I got it on VHS and I got a copy like this used. And I got this much later. Of course, this isn't my original copy. I kind of did what you did, Kyle. I probably put it as a double feature on something or whatever, but I had to get the old snap case, MegaForce with the cassette here. And by the way, if you guys are listening to this audio podcast, please watch it on YouTube as well, because we're showing visual aids here. We got a great slideshow that's accompanying this and stuff like that.
Hey,
so,
Kevin, did I see a Be Kind, Please Rewind sticker on that tape?
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Hold on. It says, yes, it says please rewind here. But what's cool about it, it's actually from, this is the funny part. Okay. I'm going to put this up to the camera. Hold on. Let me change the screen here real quick. So I'm going to put this up to the camera. So the movie's MegaForce, right? But it's actually from Mega Movies Rental.
KT, yes. No less.
And it says viewing problems. To correct a distorted or rolling picture, adjust horizontal or vertical hold on TV. No picture or sound. Check and see if the connectors are tight and the center wire is in the hole. Grainy or blurry picture, burnout or distortion, adjust VCR tracking. Check to see if the TV is set to channel 3 or 4 and switch is your TV or VCR button. Please rewind. Does that bring back nostalgia or what right there? All right, guys. Little production information here. The film was part of a 50 million slate of film production from Golden Harvest. Studios aimed at breaking into Western market. Other movies included High Road to China and The Protector. The director was Hal Needham, who said, quote, "It's like no other movie ever made before, and the machines we've built are extraordinary. There's one other thing. Although there's a lot of action, you don't see anyone get killed. I think people are beginning to get sick of that thing. What we tried to do here is make an entertaining film with some believable heroes the public can cheer for." Barry Bostwick was cast in the lead after producers saw him on stage in The Pirates of Penzance in Los Angeles. Producer Al Ruddy said that the director had talked to the other actor earlier in the development stage when the script was more serious. However, when Ruddy, quote, "decided I wanted to do another Dogs of War type movie, I wanted this to be more camp, more of a spoof, but still believable. Once we'd seen Barry, we knew right away he was up for the right part." So, Davis, it seems like they were going for the camp from day one, because you kind of get that from the beginning when you're watching this, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, look at the opening where the guy is reading the commands, like why they're all leaving the warehouse and everything, and he goes, "And you do this, comma, da 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 da, semicolon." I mean, so you're like, what is going on here? I mean, is this for real?
Yeah.
And I mean, you almost think at one point, I said, did Mel Brooks have a hand in this?
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. This goes on to say it was the first time Bostwick had received top billing in a film. He had signed a 3-picture deal covering possible sequels. He kept the beard he wore in Penzance to develop a particular look for this guy. That way, I wanted to do other pictures. I can just shave it off and look different, he says. Anyway, it's dead right for this character. Quote, "We used high technology weapons and the most advanced design," said Bostwick. "They're still on the drawing board, but they will be in use at the time the movie is out a year later." Bostwick claimed that the Pentagon tried to stop the movie by withholding 40 Army tanks needed for the bigger battle sequences because the movie's strike force was very close to the covert CIA strike forces still in existence. Kyle, I don't know if you remember this, but this is when like SEAL Team 6 was like getting going. I think they were developed SEAL Team 6, I think, came out in like 81 or something like that. So in a way, that's kind of what's happening, but also very G.I. Joe-like.
It's interesting because you talk about this, and this was at a time where the military wasn't quite so willing to help out Hollywood. We had everything going on with the Middle East. We had the hostage situations. This is also about the time when the Delta Force was really starting to become a little bit more of a known quantity to the United States as well. So there was a lot of things there. I do want to kind of loop back to you. We were talking about the camp in earlier. Yes. Considering when you look at what Hal Needham as the director, his IMDb, and I know we'll talk about that a little bit later, but this fit right into everything he had done coming up to this and things he had done after. So, it just fits right in with everything Hal Needham does, which was, there was a little camp, but it had some action and it had some realistic fun feel to it as well.
This is true. Barry Bostwick later reflected, what's good about this film? It's plausible. We need an international force like this to keep the peace. I wouldn't mind betting that one day there's a real MegaForce operating somewhere in the world. And the film was shot in location in Nevada. It pioneered the use of Introvision, a system that allows actors to walk in and out of photographs instead of sets. It was used to create the headquarters for the private army. It's an absolutely phenomenal system. And the film's producer, Al Ruddy of Introvision, there's no way you can get the quality and the speed of delivery at this cost. And at that time, that was a big deal. Did you get the feeling about this, Davis, as well? The way they did it, it was kind of ahead of its time when you think about it.
Yeah, it really was, because, I mean, if you look at how extensive, even like the control room and the hangar bays, I mean, it just looked like it was a massive set, and it probably wasn't that big, but it just looked larger than it was probably supposed to be. But it was really cool to actually see everything, and it kind of reminded me, I'm not saying if it was, but remember the old Battlestar Galactica?
Mm-hmm.
All right, remember there was some scenes where they actually had where it looked like the silhouette picture, and it looked like they were on an alien planet and whatnot. That's what it kind of reminded me of as well.
Kyle.
But see, even that one right there. Sorry, like you see, by the way,
we're showing a picture. We're showing a picture of that base, that big underground base, and they're using that Introvision to insert the actors into this big picture here, and you get a big idea on how huge this place is. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was just going to say that two things. As far as the Introvision and stuff like that, MegaForce was the ultimate early 80s technology. Kevin, I'm going to say this is probably, as what they were trying to do here, is probably very similar to what the Mandalorian tried to do with the volume, in the aspect of using green screen technology here. What they did here. Can I get you to go back?
Hold on. You nailed it on the head right there. Excellent comparison there. Go ahead.
Can I get you to go back one slide real quick, Kevin?
Which one?
To the one where you had this one right here. I just want to challenge anybody to go find a comic book that was published in 1982 that did not have that MegaForce ad in it.
Okay. We're going to talk about that with the posters, Kyle, because I want to bring that up, because this was one of the things that got me to actually go to the theater, as well as the TV ads that we were seeing and stuff. But yeah, got a picture up here of the actual poster, and then the ad that just was all over everything. And we'll get into that a little bit here. But let's start the discussion here, guys. Why do we like this movie? I put a post on Facebook, and I asked the question, why do we love this movie so much? Davis, start with you.
First, it's just a fun movie, and it's not taking itself too serious. I mean, even if you look at today's movies, I mean, some they're very dark, even like some of the military ones, and it was nice to be able to see, like, no one got killed, no one had any type of treachery or anything to it. It was just a fun movie. They went in, took care of their mission, and got out, and kind of remind me a little bit of how a lot of other 80s TV shows, like if you look at like the A-Team, Knight Rider, it was just a fun.
Kyle, what is your thoughts? Why do we love MegaForce so much? Why do you love MegaForce so much?
Well, there's so many reasons. I mean, obviously you have the very cool looking vehicles, you have some great snappy dialogue, but the biggest thing for me is this movie knows, the movies and the actors both know exactly what they're doing and what this movie is. They're not trying to overplay it as overly serious, but they're not trying to turn it into a comedy spoof either. Barry Bostwick was such brilliant casting, and I'm sorry, he has two of the greatest hero moves ever in this film. The first is when right after he got kissed by Zara, and then he spins around onto the opening of the C-130 and then gives her the look and gives her the thumb kiss. And then the other one is when he dismounts from the flying motorcycle just as he lands it on the C-130 and does the hero move.
That's right. Yes.
So, I mean, Barry Bostwick knew just enough to give this enough camp, but he didn't. He was so good at holding that line of, yes, it's campy, but I'm not going to push it over the top where it's like that really bad campy.
That's a good point. Oh man. Okay. So, all right. Why do I love this movie so much? Oh my God. Where do I start? Well, it is fun. Like you guys said, it is definitely a lot of fun. It's paced well. It's got a little bit of everything. Obviously it's got the cool machines, you know, the cool bikes, the cool dune buggies, the technology that backs them up as well. It's got the love interest, the beautiful girl, the leading man, Barry Bostwick. I got to tell you, Ace Hunter, such a likable character, so fun. He's just playing into it, like the little stuff that you said, Kyle, you know, the little moves that he does. But he also really commands this role as the commander of MegaForce. And the other thing that's really fun about this movie is the other characters, the people that make up MegaForce, Dallas and Dr. Eggstrom and everyone else. Even Duke, the villain, such a likable guy. Just, you know, I mean, you didn't hate the guy, but he was really, really good. And I like the fact too that, you know, when you get the leading lady, Zara, I think it is, she wants to join MegaForce and also join the mission. But like a lot of SEAL teams and special force teams, bringing an outsider into it's just too dangerous because they all work together. They know each other. They know what the left hand and the right hand are doing, like you said in the film. And having someone that doesn't know how that, you know, cohesion works with the team, it makes sense. But it made up for a really nice, you know, scene, a training sequence and stuff like that. But yes, it owns the camp. It's not violent. And it is just a fun movie. I think, is this thing rated G? I can't remember. I think it was
PG.
Is it PG? Okay, yeah.
I think the violence was just enough.
Yeah. But it's just got a little bit of everything. And even this, like, I got a picture up of the poser shot as we all seen with Ace Hunter in front of all of the machines with Duke in the back. And I was doing some research too. Did you know there's like where is it right here? Let me just show you this one real quick. Got that one. Oh, there's his butt. The other side here. Had to show that one there. But yeah, just a lot of fun. But okay, so guys, I always like to ask this question. What makes this movie different right now, okay, from others, especially around that time, and maybe what movies are missing from it now, and how does it stand out for you, Davis?
Well, the big question right now, because I cannot remember, what other movies were actually playing in 1982? Was playing in 1982?
Tron was just about to come out. E.T. had already come out. A bunch of them. We're talking about them right now on Time Warp.
Okay, well, I mean, just thinking about that, there was a lot of movies that were just fun, family, wholesome entertainment. I mean, Tron was another great one, and then E.T., of course. But I mean, I think that's just one thing that's just missing. Like, they don't take themselves too seriously. They had a nice little merchandise with Hot Wheels, and I think that was the only thing. The only thing they did not make, which I was very surprised, they did not make any action figures for this.
Mm-hmm.
I have a thought on that.
Kyle, go ahead.
I think we were about 2 years. If MegaForce comes out 2 years later, we get the massive toy binge. We weren't quite outside of Star Wars. We weren't quite there yet with the toy attack for movies and TV.
Yeah,
at that
that's
point.
true.
Yeah, that's a good point. What about you, Kyle? What makes it stand out? I mean, what is it that you think that maybe movies now are missing from it.
It's not dark. It's not. It's a war movie that's not dark. It's lighthearted. You can watch. Anybody can watch this film. This is a film you can sit down as a family and watch. The bad guy, even the bad guy is even likable. You know, this is one of those times where you have the bad guy where he's bad, but you kind of root for him a little bit because he's so likable. You've got these likable characters, and you know, just I look at this film, and one of the things, and I know we'll talk about the cast a little bit. To me, this was the cast that was a bunch of likable people that we know, but never truly became superstars either. But we know their faces. Bostwick wasn't even really a superstar at this point, and I don't know if he ever quite reached it. I don't think he ever really reached that level. But you knew everybody's faces in this, and I think it's one of those. It puts you in a comfort zone because you recognize so many people in this film, especially if you're of a certain age.
Right. That's a good point. Just to kind of give you an idea, Davis, of what films were coming out around this time, we had Sword and Sorcery, we had Conan the Barbarian, E.T. of course came out, Fast Times at Richmond High, Grease 2, of course Tron, a bunch of fun stuff that came out too. Bambi, like I mentioned, came out as well. So we also had some dramas and stuff like that. But even E.T. was scary. You know, it even though it was rated PG, there was threat of actual death there, which was one of the things that made that movie very interesting. So we had some fans on Facebook respond to what was happening here, what we were talking about, and want to mention some of theirs here. Kyle said, of course, the rematch. My good friend Justin Manis says, yes, the good guys always win, even in the 2000s. Webster Ware said, holy S word. Haven't seen this since I was a young lad. Definitely got to check it out. When and where? And I said, stay tuned. My friend Rob Taylor, and I want to see if you guys did the same thing here. He says, oh my God, Megaforce. I saw that when I was a small lad. I wanted my BMX to fly like that. Anybody else have one of those flying wishes for their bikes?
It was either the flying motorcycle from Megaforce or it was the rocket sled from Flash Gordon. The bike was always one of those two things.
Or I will remind you, there was another flying motorcycle before Megaforce. Do you remember which one it was?
Gosh, who had a flying motorcycle? I don't know. Who was it?
Davis wins this. What is it, Davis?
Galactica 1980.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I forgot. I can't believe I forgot about that.
Sometimes you just want to forget about that. But
So those were actually really cool as well, even though the storyline was a little bit out there. But, I mean, having those motorcycles, and I think one thing that actually they were trying to go for Megaforce was the fact that it was a little sci-fi. And so you're riding on the cusp of one of the greatest trilogies known to the entire civilization of mankind, Star Wars, and they're going to try to cash in for it. I mean, there's a little sci-fi there, no doubt.
No, actually, you're right. My friend Articulated Chad said, one of my favorites, Articulated Chad, by the way, is a huge G.I. Joe fan, and I've podcasted with him before. And he says, I'm still working on my Joe scale Megaforce vehicle fleet. And he does a lot of custom work like you do, Davis. So I'm kind of curious to see. He hasn't. I wanted pictures, but he says he wasn't ready to share them yet. But I do have something that I'm one up on people here. Check this out, guys. Yeah, look at that right there. That is me in front of a Megaforce dune buggy that was parked outside of a Army Navy store. I want to say somewhere in Long Beach, Huntington Beach, something like that. I can't remember. And this is me circa, I want to say 2006, maybe. I think it is right there. But yeah, this thing was like chained up out there. Of course, the missiles were missing. But yeah, apparently it was, when I asked about it, the guy said the owner had purchased it from an auction where this was an original one that was used in the films. And so it was one of because there's a bunch of them that are floating around in other places and stuff like that. But Who can say they've had a picture next to a dune buggy? All right, guys. What do we got here? Okay, first of all, let's go ahead and talk about this interesting article I found here, guys. Military sci-fi oddities. This is interesting. Out of the mist of time and space, a convergence of the military and science fiction genres fueled by the hopefulness of the just begun 1980s and topped with a generous layer of cheese came 1982's MegaForce, directed by Hal Needham. Smoking the Bandit, of course, he's from that, and starring Barry Bostwick. Yes, dear readers of this, it is indeed time to explore and maybe explain the oddity 1980s action movies and military that was MegaForce, and film that my older brother and I subjected my poor father to seeing before its brief theatrical run of June 1982 at McClellan Boulevard Plaza in Anniston, Alabama. Oh, man. Let me ask you real quick, Kyle, if you can go back in time right now and actually see this in the big screen, would you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Without even a doubt. This is, the thing about MegaForce is it actually did establish a lot of things we would see later on in toy lines and in certain types of films or Saturday morning cartoons. It kind of put that baseline out there. And I'm sorry, I still believe it is the baseline for the 1980s era and modern era of G.I. Joe.
It is. It's basically the G.I. Joe movie that we should have got. And there's a little tie into that later. But let's talk about the theatrical posters, guys. That's always fun. And if you're listening to this, make sure you check out the YouTube video because we are showing the posters. This is the most famous poster right here. It is the drawn picture because a lot of 80s posters and action films and stuff were a lot of hand-drawn artist paid products like this one here. And I got to tell you, this one's my favorite. I've seen a lot of different versions of it. I love the fact that it's drawn and painted, done by an artist. Davis, your thoughts on the poster here?
Oh, absolutely love it. And that's the one they actually ended up using as the DVD, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I have the DVD right here. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Because that one right there is probably my favorite as well. And like Kyle said, I can remember one of my early G.I. Joe comics had the back of the MegaForce ad as well.
You know what? I got that here. Let's go ahead and show that right there. That is the ad that we are speaking of right there. Are you man enough for MegaForce, guys? How cool is that? This was in all the comics. As it says, get your official MegaForce membership kit. For only $1, you get the official MegaForce patch, MegaForce membership card, and a reflective bike decal.
Kevin, Kyle, I never saw a trailer for this ever, but this ad was freaking everywhere. I cannot pick up a comic and not see this ad.
I don't remember if I sent in for it. I want to say that I did, but whatever happened, I don't remember putting a decal on my bike or anything like that, Kyle. Would you have done that? I would have. I remember.
I had thought about it, but living in Alaska, half the time that stuff never ever made it up to me completely. But yeah, no, this is one of the all-time classic comic book ads. I think when I think of comic books in the early 80s, I think of that, and I always think of those old Hostess cartoon strips that they would put like Superman or a Spider-Man in or something to sell Hostess cakes to kids.
Well, I got this one here. This is an import poster here. I'm gonna guess that is French, I believe.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
Yeah. But we also got what else we got here. We got the wide one here, which I think is really cool. This probably came from overseas as well. All of the I guess horizontal posters are more of a European UK type of thing. Any thoughts on these other posters here, Grayson?
Oh, you know what? I love that one. You know what? It seemed to recall that one when I was growing up, because I remember seeing like the TACCOM and then the dune buggies on that and everything. It seems very familiar, but I just cannot remember where I saw it at.
Right. Well, we got a couple more here. I believe these are foreign ones right here. Check these out. That looks like an Arabic one right there. That one's actually.
What I like about the Arabic one too is look who the main actors are listed in English.
Edward Mulhare and Henry Silva. Yep. Definitely. That is very, very cool. I love that. I actually wouldn't mind having that one. That one's pretty cool. Probably very hard to find though. Let's see if I got any more here. I think that's it. So, the movie tagline, guys, basically it's deeds, not words. Everyone that is a Megaforce fan, Davis, knows deeds, not words, but they don't say it in the movie, if I remember correctly.
No, I was just thinking that because I remember Mark Webber had said that on one of the posts that you had made, and he said deeds, not words. But I'm thinking in my mind going, I don't remember it ever being said in the movie.
Yeah, definitely. Now, do you guys have any favorite quotes from the film? Anything funny that was said? Any fun dialogue? Kyle, I'm going to start with you.
Well, of course, you love them in blue, you love them in red, but most of all, you love them in blue.
No idea what that means.
Yeah, very, very wise.
Very wise.
Dallas said that, right?
Yeah, Dallas said that, but he learned it from Hunter because Hunter first says it was how dumb it was, but right. Wise, very wise. Basically, almost every line of Dallas in the movie is quotable. The egg is great. I mean, the man has more degrees than a thermometer.
Yeah. So. Davis, you got any favorite quotes?
Or what was the one that the egg actually says to Dallas? He says,
hold on. Hey, Dallas, if someone doesn't have less on, they have
moron.
What's funny, when you go back and watch the movie, you can actually hear somebody laughing in the background when that line is
really
read. Yeah, play close attention. Of course, and this long, that big around.
Yeah, an old no shoulder, that right?
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite is, and it's kind of like the golden rule you learn as from your parents is do unto others as you would have do unto you. Is I love when Ace Hunter says it's all on the wheel, it all comes around, and I like how that's mentioned twice. It's cheesy, but I love it. So definitely get some good quotes there, and I think you're right, Kyle. I think a lot of them I could watch Dallas for like an hour just talk.
Yeah.
I think he has a good one there. Definitely one of my favorites. Okay, so I want to throw a little popular culture out there, guys. So Matt Stone and Trey Parker are fans of this movie, as you guys know them from more famous from South Park, and use it as a basis for Team America Worldwide that came out in 2004. In the DVD introduction to the season 2 South Park, the Mexican starring frog of southern Sri Lanka, Trey Parker graphically described Megaforce as if it were the plot for what the viewer is about to see. Matt Stone stops Parker mid-sentence and reminds him that he's describing the movie Megaforce and not their episode. A disappointed Parker remembers and says, "We should have done Megaforce. That was a sweet movie. We should have done that." Their film Team America World Police includes a number of apparent references in the film, including similar scenes of a flying motorcycle and an underground base where the hero meets various specialists. I don't remember that. Do you remember that, Kyle?
It's been a while since I remember the flying motorcycle in Team America. And if I think back to it, and it's been a good while since I've watched that movie, but yeah, there's definitely some Megaforce mixed in there.
Well, as you can imagine, Davis, this type of movie is going to have people wanting to poke fun out of it because of its cheese, its 80s glory. And it has been done by Rifftrax. Megaforce did do a Rifftrax with Mike Nelson, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy. I got to tell you, I went to a live taping, or not a live taping, but a live performance of a Rifftrax, and it started the MST3K guy. I forget what his name is, but for me, it kind of backfired because they decided to do Rifftrax of good movies, like not that Megaforce is a good movie, but I'm talking about more critically acclaimed fan. Yes, this movie's awesome, and I went to go see a version of this live on stage as we were watching Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. And it almost ruined the movie for me, the way that they did that. Kyle?
One of the best Rifftrax though I've ever seen. They did the original Anaconda.
Oh, now you're talking.
I went and saw it at the theater on a Fathom event with our good friend Matt Clifton and a couple other people, and that was fun.
Now you're talking. Yeah. All right, guys. So let's get into the director and cast here, and we have to talk about Mr. Hal Needham. We got a cool picture of him right here behind the camera wearing a cool hat. This guy is a stuntman. He's done a little bit of everything when it comes to, action and guy's just been all over the place. He was born in 1931. He died in 2013. He was the highest paid stuntman at the world at the time, and he broke 56 bones, his back twice, punctured a lung, and knocked out a few teeth. His career included work on 4,500 television episodes and 310 feature films as a stuntman, stunt coordinator, second unit director, and ultimately a director. And a lot of the stuff he's been known for is stunts for Smokey and the Bandit, Cannonball Run, Stoker Ace, and of course MegaForce. But he was also had a little part in MegaForce where he was in what do you call the van, Davis? Like the technical
TACCOM.
The what?
Yeah,
TACCOM, yes.
TACCOM.
Yeah, so he got a little scene in there as well. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that Hal Needham and his legacy. I'm going to start with you, Davis.
Well, I mean, who doesn't love Smoking the Bandit? I mean, that's just a wonderful, wholesome movie for sure. I mean, I remember watching that when I was a kid with my parents, and I love that movie. So, and seeing him in the cameo, that was actually really cool because not many directors do that anyway, but it was nice to actually see that.
Kyle, your thoughts on Mr. Needham? I got to assume he did it because he's like, I'm loving this movie. I got to be in it.
Well, yeah, and Hal Needham is one of those faces that you recognize from the 70s and 80s. He's one of those that guy people. But I'm just looking at his filmography just as a director. He was the second unit director for the original The Longest Yard. He directed the car chase sequence at the beginning of the film. He did Smokey and the Bandit. He did Hooper. He did Death Car on the Freeway, Smokey and Bandit 2, The Cannonball Run, MegaForce, Stoker Ace, Cannonball Run 2, Rad, Kevin. He did Rad.
That's right.
Body Slam. And then he did a bunch of Bandit shows in 1994. I'm going to bet these were the ones that were done for a thing called the Action Pack. And it was like Bandit Goes Country, Bandit, Beauty and the Bandit, Bandit Silver Angel. And it looks like the last thing he did was in 1999, Hard Time Hostage Hotel. But Hal Needham definitely has a place in the Hollywood story. And I think even though it might not be the superstar place, I think he's got a classic place in the Hollywood story of Hollywood. And I think he's made some classic films.
Agreed. Yeah, he's done a little bit of everything, and I thought he was perfect for this. But guys, I want to talk. What's that, Kyle?
Real quick, I want to talk those Bandit films I was talking about later on. It was Brian Bloom who played the Bandit in those films.
Oh, okay. Remind me who he is.
A-Team, the A-Team in the A-Team modern remake. He was the mercenary that they fought.
Oh, that the movie A-Team?
Yeah, the movie with Bradley Cooper and all of that.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, cool. Yeah. Well, let's talk about our lead star here, guys. I mean, when it comes down to it, Barry Bostwick was Ace Hunter. I don't know about you guys. Yes, he was in Spin City where he played the mayor. And, of course, he co-starred in Rocky Horror Picture Show. But to me, he's Ace Hunter. I want to get your guys' your thoughts. And I got a picture up here of a recent picture of him standing next to looks like a full-on like muck-up replica of one of the Dune buggies here, which I thought was great. Davis, thoughts on our hero?
Well, I remember the opportunity back in 2017. Kyle and I went to MegaCon, and he was there. And I had brought my DVD, and I thought in my mind going, okay, hopefully he won't be, that guy who's like, you're bringing this or anything. But I was like third in line, and he saw my DVD because I was holding it, and he stopped what he was doing, and he was like, hey, I heard that movie's pretty good. What do you think? And
nice.
And he
this
goes,
one right
I know
here,
what
baby.
movie that is. And, I got to talk to him for a little bit, and I got a picture with him, and he even put on the DVD, says deeds, not words. but he was just a wonderful gentleman to talk to. He loved the movie. I asked him if there was ever any opportunity for a sequel, and he's like, I always wanted to have one.
Yeah,
from what I remember. So really cool guy.
That's cool, man. Kyle, your thoughts on Mr. Barry Bostwick?
Barry Bostwick has one of the more interesting careers in Hollywood because he, I think, truly is defined by 3 roles. Obviously, if you're going for like the really cult thing and just his early years, it's obviously Rocky Horror Picture Show. Then you get later on when he was the mayor in Spin City, which turned out to be an incredibly popular sitcom, Michael J. Fox. But he became so endearing in that show, whether it was when Michael J. Fox was there, when Michael left because of his Parkinson's and Charlie Sheen took over. But I think for a lot of people in the 80s, he's, like you said, Kevin, he is identified as Ace Hunter. And I think he's got these 3 really standout roles that are all so completely different. And like David said, he is one of the nicest men you will meet on the planet, and he is so welcoming to his fans. He's one of those actors that makes going to a con worthwhile because he always makes it a good experience because he's so kind.
Good point. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of him in this film. He is such a likable character. And I have a similar story. I met him at, I think it was Dragon Con, Davis. And I was like, I was collecting cards to get signed. I wasn't like looking to get like, other things like posters and stuff like that. Because cards, you could, they're smaller or whatever. So I went online and I found like a celebrity card of him, just like dressed normally or in a nice suit. And I couldn't afford to do both that and the DVD at the time. So I got the card signed and I said, look, I went up to him and said, look, I'm a huge MegaForce fan. He's like, oh, that's awesome. And he was very cool. And he wrote, he wrote his name and then he wrote like MegaForce. I think he wrote Deeds, Not Words as well. I don't have the card in front of me, but he was really appreciative of it. Such a sweet guy. Like you said, Davis. I wish I would have gotten the DVD signed, and if I ever get a chance, that's what I'm going to do as well, is get that one because I love that original one as well. Let's talk about. Oh yeah, Davis, go ahead.
I was going to say I had read an article that and I can't remember where it was, but he said that he loved getting any of the MegaForce merchandise, and I was really hoping to be able to give him one of these, but I could not find one, and
wait, hold on. Hold that up here because I want to show it on camera a little bit closer so people can see this because this is really cool. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and then you got something else as well, right?
Yes, I do. I have the Shadow one as well, the night version one.
So you're holding up the 2 Dune buggies just for our audio listeners here, yeah.
Yes. And most importantly, I'm holding up.
And these are Hot Wheel size, right?
These are official Hot Wheels.
Gotcha. Okay.
They came out in 1981.
Wow. Before the movie came out.
Before the movie. And if you ever look at any type of movie merchandise, they always come out right before the actual movie does to be able to help promote it. But I have Zachary Taylor and Dallas's Sweet Ride as well.
Is that the Bronco?
Yeah. That is the Bronco.
More importantly, though, does that cast a Carrie hologram?
No. Unfortunately not.
All right, guys, I want to talk about the rest of the cast here. I want to, first of all, highlight Henry Silva, who played Guerrera. It's interesting because those characters have history together. Thoughts on Guerrera as a likable villain, Davis?
Well, yeah, he is very likable. And even during the dinner scene when he is actually talking to Ace is actually talking to everyone else, and he's telling him the story. He's telling them the story about Guerrera, how he used to be his friend, and because of the tragedy that happened, he basically just said, "Screw it, I'm going to do my own thing." And he's still friends with him, and it makes him that kind of that likable villain. And a little tidbit of knowledge for Henry Silva, he is also the voice of Bane from Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, very cool. Nice. Kyle, your thoughts on our likable villain, Guerrera?
He's so likable, and Henry Silva is another one of those that guys, Kevin. In fact, he's so much of a that guy. I'm gonna test you. What else about that age might we have seen Henry Silva in?
I want to say, wasn't he in Battlestar Galactica?
No.
Or no,
You're
Buck
clo-
Rogers. Buck
Yes,
Rogers.
he was Kane in Buck Rogers in the
That's right.
25th century.
Yeah.
And he went on. He was also in the movie Sharky's Machine. He
Yeah.
was also in He was also starred in Cannonball Run too. And like
Hold on,
Davis was saying,
before you list off his stuff, I just want to mention, for me, he's more famous for two roles. That's this film and the villain in Above the Law was Steven Seagal's first film, because he was really good in that.
Yeah, but he also went on to do quite a bit of animated work, and like I said, big one was being the voice of Bane in the WB animated universe.
Right.
So
yeah, like Davis said, yeah. All right, guys, let's talk about Persis Khambatta here. I'm hoping that I'm saying her name right here.
You are.
Most people, of course, know her from originally from playing the Star Trek the motion picture.
Ilea.
Thank you. But I'm just gonna say she looked great in that. Beautiful. But I'm just gonna say that kind of. Oops, not the hologram. Who's that? Is that Carrie? That's Carrie the hologram.
Carrie.
Right there.
Come on, Carrie.
There we go. Persis right there. Yeah. Thoughts on Persis right here, Kyle?
I thought she was great in this movie. Very strong, very well written character. I mean, it's a shame we lost her way, way too early. She died at the age of 49 due to cancer, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, she was great in this movie. We'll get it later on. I'm going to talk about some of what I might do for modern recasts, and but yeah, she set a bar very high, and I think she would actually be thriving if she was of age now. She would be thriving as a superstar in Hollywood, as Davis, the way action movies are.
Your thoughts on Persis?
Oh, I thought she was great in the movie. And at first I did not really put two and two together because, in Star Trek the Motion Picture, she was bald-headed, but she was beautiful actress, no doubt. And she played a really good, strong character, but she was like almost a strong, but actually just a loving, fun character in this movie. I mean, it made you really like her and want to know more about her. And honestly, looking at it today from, 2022 lenses, how great would it have been if she would have joined MegaForce, just seeing that aspect.
I was hoping that could have been in a sequel, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. I do want to hit on the rest of the cast here. Of course, we had Edward Mulhare as well. We have George Firth as Professor Eggstrom. Of course, Michael Beck is Dallas, and we got Evan Kim as Suki. Anthony Pena is Six Killer. We got a bunch of other great character actors in this, Kyle. Thoughts on the rest of the cast, Kyle?
Well, like I said earlier, the great thing about this movie, and one of the things that makes you feel so kind of able to get comfortable with this movie, is it's a bunch of that guy actors. We know them, they didn't have. Truthfully, Michael Beck might have been a bigger name than Barry Bostwick at the time of this film. When you
Why
think
is that?
Warriors, Xanadu.
Yeah.
And but it's so interesting to look at this because there's so many of these actors who we recognize their face from other 80s films, but we don't necessarily know them by name. You talk about Evan C. Kim as Suki, Ralph Wilcox as Zach, Anthony Pena and J. Victor Lopez. They all are guys that we recognize from other films around that time, but they never were that superstar role.
Yeah. Davis, thoughts on the rest of the cast, man?
I agree completely with Kyle, because if you look at the cast of the team of MegaForce, they're all like, hey, I know him from somewhere, or I've seen him before. It's like they all are very familiar, but you just cannot place them. And you could probably, once you start IMDb on them, you go, oh, I know exactly where he's from because he's in X movie or Y movie. And it's just a really good selection of cast that made it really well done.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely agreed on that. All right, guys, I want to get into some technical stuff here. First of all, the runtime was 1 hour and 39 minutes. Budget of $20 million. Released June 25th, 1982. Fortunately, didn't do too well in the box office. Opening weekend made a little over $2 million and grossed only about $5,675,000. and some change. Critical reviews. Guess what? Did not get good reviews, guys. Now, I want to say here, the film was released during the summer of '82 amid much competition. Early box office tracking was poor, and it felt that the film would be overshadowed by Mad Max 2, aka The Road Warrior, that came out. The film, now this is where it gets a little interesting on Rotten Tomatoes here, because it says the film is in a list of films with 0 rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't know if it's been updated or they didn't update that thing here, because on the tomato meter it has 15 reviews at 43%. Or maybe that, I think that's actually the audience score. Yeah, that's the audience score at 43%. But 15 reviews, it got 0%. Kyle, do people just not get it that it's supposed to just be fun?
I think it's a combination of a few things here. As far as critical reviews, to give it a tomato meter score, I don't think there's been many critical reviews of this done, because it didn't really last in the theaters that long. And honestly, I think it's one of those movies that it has a cult following, but it also got very much lost in the shuffle. And I think it's one of those movies I would love to see this get, and I know we're talking about it later, but I'm just going to say it now. I'd love to see this a modern remake where they can give love to this original and maybe re-release this original. And I know that there's plans for something international, but I want something in the States. I want a good release in the States. And because I think if people were to revisit this, they would get it now compared to what we've gotten then. And I think this movie got lost in time. It went without a DVD or VHS release for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, we're going to talk about the video releases here and something new that is coming out that I'm really excited about. But first, let's talk about, as I mentioned, the VHS. That's a picture of my actual VHS that I've already shown. And then, of course, it did come out on DVD, and I do have that one as well. That's the one you have, right, to Davis?
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah. Kyle, do you have a physical copy of this, or do you have it on iTunes as well?
I actually have it on iTunes, and it's actually it's actually even an upgraded version over the DVD version as far as the quality of the video. Well,
there also is this Asian release. I ordered this one, and I don't know if it came from like China or what, but it was like an actual Blu-ray of MegaForce. And I don't think it has a lot of special features on it, but it was a better transfer than the DVD that it had, so I had to get that. But guys, guess what is coming out? Headed to Blu-ray this August. We got something special for you guys. Check this out. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and show the big picture here, guys. Look at this right there. Look at that. All right. So now, guys, this is an Australian release. So if you want this special release here, guys, you're going to have, unfortunately, an all-region DVD player / Blu-ray player. But I have that, so I'm fine with that. But this is very cool because it comes with a lot of stuff here. Let me read the stuff that it comes with here. Exclusive collector's edition comes with an embroidered hat, A3 reversible poster, 8 times little poster cards. So you get 8 poster cards, a holographic sticker, a membership card, exclusive Ace Speaks, an all-new 40-minute interview with lead actor Barry Bostwick. Okay. Exclusive audio commentary with author and mega fan Stephen Vogt. Exclusive Life After MegaForce upcoming documentary interview with Barry Bostwick and filmmaker Rob Liedenmayer. New Life After MegaForce documentary trailer. New Mega Destroyer test drive. Not sure what that means. Exclusive Hal Needham trailer reel. New Bob rebuilds a Delta Mark IV. Ooh, so that must be a video of someone building one of the, motorcycles. Mm-hmm. Audio commentary with Barry Bostwick and filmmaker Bob Liedenmayer. A 2019 interview with actors Barry Bostwick and Michael Beck. MegaForce Atari 2600 game footage and ad spot. Intro version behind the scenes footage, stills and poster gallery, Australian VHS trailer, TV spots, teaser trailer, and an Easter egg. Now, this special edition that you can also order just the Blu-ray itself, I think for around $30 maybe in Australia. But if you order this, it costs $75 in Australian or $51.76 USD, not including shipping. Guys, I'm going to get this. How about you?
I have to get my region free player first.
Yes. I mean, you get a cap. Come on, you get a patch or sticker. You get the little club card. Davis, what say you?
It's cool, but I don't have a region-free player either, unfortunately. But it's pretty sweet. I mean, and whoever has the opportunity to buy it, if they really are a big MegaForce fan, I would buy it.
Definitely. Oh man, it's so cool. Guys, let's talk about the cars. Let's talk about the vehicles. Let's talk about the weapons. I mean, really, this is the coolest part of MegaForce here, guys. These hit such a special nostalgia for me personally. You wish you kind of had like the 3 3/4 versions of these with action figures. That's the only thing this was missing, and I have a feeling that if the movie did better, we might have gotten this. You know, we didn't get action figures for Star Wars for I think almost a year later when it came out. Davis, your thoughts on the vehicles here?
Oh, I just find them really cool, and I love the opportunity that I had getting Hot Wheels as a kid. And did you know that this actually version, the Doom Buggy, has been released like 6 or 7 times through Hot Wheels? So if you've missed this version, there is another version. There's about 6 or 7 other versions. There's actually even a Star Wars one that's a Luke Skywalker one like this.
Wow.
So it came out in like 2015. So just to give it FYI. But you're right. I know G.I. Joe had come out in 1982. Yeah. So MegaForce was in 82 as well. Star Wars was still run by Kenner. It just sounds like, I mean, I don't know for sure because didn't really look at the history of it, but it just sounds like that there could have been an opportunity. It's like Last Starfighter. They never released a Gunstar, but they did release a couple of the figures.
True. Yeah. Kyle, your thoughts on the vehicles?
The vehicles themselves are iconic. Between the paint design, the look of them, and they're just so much fun. I mean, you have the Doom Buggy with the laser on the back of it. Just great looks. And like I said, the paint design is great. The changing of color where they go to black when there's no light on them is great. And Kevin, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the rockets on the motorcycle and how fun it is. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched MegaForce, watch it one time and just pay attention to the rocket flights on because they are ones that are all over the place. And I am thinking they had to be a hazard on set for some of these stunt drivers because they probably spent half their time trying to duck from some of these rockets that just went flying off in any direction they felt like.
Yeah. No, to me, guys, the vehicles were toys come to life, basically. When we saw whether it was Star Wars, our flashlights and broomsticks became lightsabers. Certain movies I remember coming out like this. You wish that your bicycle would fly. Or cars would, and GI just came out, and I remember like when getting on my my skateboard when Back to the Future came out and doing some really stupid stuff, stuff like that. But the vehicles were just so cool looking. They had these cool like desert looking stripes. And then, they had that cool ability where at nighttime they would just go black, and seeing them at night with the lights and yes, and the weapons on them were just so cool. And you had the 2 rockets on each side of the front of the motorcycle. Then you had the machine guns, and the TACCOM thing was really cool. It had that weird like disappearing ray gun. Kyle,
Kevin, I have to ask you, and Davis, I think you can weigh in on this as well. Realistically, how many times did you take your sidecar off your G.I. Joe Ram and rock and roll was your Ace Hunter on the flying motorcycle?
We are all raising our hands right now. I want to say that I probably messed around with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, guys, a little thing about that, by the way, the cars and motorbikes were designed by William Friedrich, who worked on Hooper. He delivered them after 8 months of work and a cost of $1 million, but they all actually worked. And that was one of the cool things about this. Hal Needham was injured, by the way, during filming after falling off a motorcycle, breaking several ribs and bruising himself. And real quick, by the way, costume designers didn't have one. The film had no creative costume designer because all the clothes were designed by the toy company Mattel.
Which makes it even worse that we never actually got a toy line.
This is true, yes. Guys, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a fan of the soundtrack, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, here, I'm gonna hold this up real quick here, and so you guys can see this. I actually have the CD here. Okay, the album was released on Boardwalk Records with the theme song droned by the group 707, which was released as a single, reaching the mid-level of the charts in the United States and Canada. Now, I wasn't really paying attention to Billboard charts at the time of 82, but I think that's pretty cool. And the soundtrack is released on compact disc in 2011 by BSX Records. The soundtrack release was originally planned for 82, but it didn't happen until 2011, guys. According to an interview with composer Gerald Emel, published in the soundtrack CD booklet, he asked Carly Simon to write and perform lyrics to the love theme heard during the skydiving scene. Carly considered it, but ultimately declined, so the song remained an instrumental. God, I can only imagine what that was like. MegaForce by 707, the movie's title song, reached number 12 on the Billboard's main rock chart. According to 707, singer-guitarist Kevin Russell, producer Keith Olsen brought in Journey's Jonathan Cain to play the keyboard intro, and Cain insisted on a cut of the publishing, which is the only reason why he's listed as a co-writer. Actual co-writer Todd Howarth later re-recorded the song as Calling to You with Ace Frehley's band, Frehley's Comment, removing Cain's credit and adding Frehley. Very interesting. Davis, listening to this movie and you start to hear this theme song, doesn't it just get you pumped up?
It does. And I don't know if anyone else noticed this in watching it, but there is a few tones that you look at and you're going, huh, that reminds me of Battlestar Galactica, or hey, that reminds me of this from an 80s movie, or any like the little bitty things that you just go, oh, that really is intended to really pump you up or really jazz you up about the whole movie. And I've actually tried to look for the soundtrack, and it is not available on Amazon or iTunes whatsoever.
I think I got it on eBay is how I found this copy. But yeah, I hadn't even considered getting a digital copy of it too in a download, but that's a good idea. But Kyle, I do also have this movie on iTunes.
Yeah.
Because I wanted a good one here. Kyle, thoughts on the soundtrack?
Come on, the 707 song for MegaForce is one of those classics. You just put it on your car, and you just, next thing you know, you're probably going 10 miles over the speed limit, probably.
10 miles?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying not to get anybody in trouble here because we can't drive 55 on this podcast. But
right.
No, it's a pump you up song. It's a great closing credits song. It's got a great score to it as well. I love the music piece that's used when they're doing the training session in the beginning on the motorcycles with the target practice. That's a great one piece, musical score piece as well. So yeah, it's a fun soundtrack with one of the best a song that to me is very representative of 80s rock, 80s pop rock, where it just gets you pumped, gets that adrenaline going, but it's not super heavy. It just gets you, it just gets that blood pumping.
I'm reading the back of this CD, by the way, and there's the back of it right there. Down here, it actually says limited edition of 1,000 prints. Interesting. By the way, the love song that's playing during the parachute scene, it's called Free Falling in Love. Yes, very, very good. Yes, Davis.
I do have something interesting about soundtracks is, when it says limited edition of like 1,000 or and I'll give you a good example. There's one Transformer movie that it was only contracted to be sold so many units. Don't know the exact number, but once those units sold out, it's no longer available.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So it was Dark of the Moon.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I bought this for around like $10 to $15, which at the time I felt was a deal, but I'm wondering if they're getting a little harder to find now. So real quick, guys, before we head into the break here, we got filming locations shot in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the outskirts, basically in the dry lake bed. which I'm sure that probably some speed records have been attempted at as well. Filmed in southern Nevada using the M48A tanks and I guess it was part of the Armored Battalion of Nevada National Guard. Kyle, yes.
I just wanted to win because this is usually too where we kind of talk some about the effect shots.
Yes.
I just got to say this. As much as I love MegaForce, it is one of the best examples of bad 80s green screen because there's some.
Wait, hold on. Are you talking about the actual like skydiving scene?
The skydiving scene where they mixed actual skydiving shots with some very, very bad green screen.
Okay, it's funny you say that because there is the scene where you could see that there's two stuntmen really doing this, but then there's a scene where they show the character that's supposed to be Khambatta's character.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, Khambatta's character.
Yeah.
But then you see Ace's character that's literally hanging from like a wire in front of a big screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And I mean, as much as we love it and we don't blast it, but come on, flying motorcycle is when he does the full 360 around is a little.
Okay, hold on, Kyle. Okay, let's talk about this real quick because that's a good point. First of all, I did want to show this picture, guys, real quick before we get into the break. I'm sorry, let me get this here. This is a little behind the scenes out on the desert here, which I thought was great. As you can see, it looks like his motorcycle is being attached to the machine that raises it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you see the filming crew behind it. But you're talking about this little action going on right here, Kyle. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the motorcycle jumping over the this is when they're making their escape. Shot. But you're talking about this one right here. They're flying.
And he does the full 360 while flying, and he flies upside down.
So what you're saying is this doesn't look completely realistic, Davis? What do you think?
I will say that all right, but let's just be real, okay? Looking back now, yes, it's really cheesy, but when you look at it as a kid, what this movie was intended for, I mean, it was not intended for 40-year-olds to say
it was intended for 11-year-old Kevin going in, sneaking into the theater and deceiving his mom.
Thank you. And how cool was it? You know, the leader of this band is trying to get away, and you're thinking, how's he going to get out of there? What's he going to do? And then all of a sudden, he's going to do this. Fold down.
He's going to do 1, 2.
And then it just takes off, and you're just like thinking, how freaking cool is that? I mean, come on. So, I mean, by the way,
guys, if you're listening, I'm showing the pictures of this flight, stills of this flight. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Can I add one thing in here real quick? There's some shots in this because they had him with one of those big fans or in a wind tunnel or something like that. And his eyes are so popped because of the wind blowing in his face. Right. That some of his facial expressions during this are just absolutely hilarious.
David, sorry, do you have any other comments about this?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it was just really one of the cool things to finally have him land on it. Then he jumps off and does that little performance right there. So, I mean, it was cool for what it's worth.
But we had a lot of like practical stunts, like this one that I just teased, Kyle, with the, in the beginning when they first like present themselves to the general, and they put on a little display of them shooting those targets down and doing the jump. And here's another great jump over a tank with an explosion going behind it, and the tack buggy, whatever it's called, is over here. I mean, how cool are some of these like actual scenes? And then you got the whole smoke thing trailing behind them, which, by the way, was it Star Wars: The Last Jedi stole from?
Kevin, yeah, without a doubt. But Kevin,
right, Davis? Hold on. Right, Davis is laughing because I'm right, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when I saw that in The Last Jedi, I was like, wait a minute. I've seen this before.
MegaForce did it first. Yeah. Sorry, Kyle. Go ahead.
No, and we are all in agreement about that with The Last Jedi, but still one of the coolest shots to me is that overhead shot where all the smoke's coming out different colors and they're just driving in that line across that lake bed. That is just such a cool all-American shot in a way. And it's like You just see that and you're like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. MegaForce.
That's right, buddy. Oh God, that's so good. So good. Okay, guys. Let's go ahead. We're gonna take a little break here, but Kyle, I'm gonna use one of those cool little transitions first. We gotta do this. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break here from Couch Potato Theater discussion, and we're going to let you know what other great podcasts are here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. Here are the other great shows on the Fandom Podcast Network. Culture Clash, where we discuss the latest in entertainment and pop culture. Blooded Kings, our show covering the entire Highlander universe. Couch Potato Theater, we celebrate our favorite movies. And Time Warp, our fandom flashback show discussing a year in movies and our favorite retro movie, TV, and pop culture topics. Good Evening, discussing all things Alfred Hitchcock. Hair Metal Podcast, we cover the rock metal music of the 80s and early 90s. Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast, discussing the time-traveling Doctor Who universe. Lethal Mullet, an action film podcast covering the 80s, 90s, and beyond. Also, check out the Lethal Mullet Network for more great podcasts. What a Piece of Junk, our Star Wars podcast. Making Treks, a Star Trek podcast with a deep dive into the final frontier. The Fandom Show, our Fandom Podcast Network live YouTube show discussing the hottest topics in fandom. The True Believers MCU podcast, discussing the Marvel Cinematic and Television Universe. Union Federation, our Star Trek and the Orville Show. And we're proud to welcome the BQN Network to the Fandom Podcast Network. Please visit our friends on the BQN Network, a Star Trek Universe podcast that also includes your favorite topics, movies, history, superheroes, and more. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on YouTube. The Fandom Podcast Network is also on all major podcast platforms. The Fandom Podcast Network audio master feed is on Podbean at fpnet.podbean.com. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom. All right, welcome back to Couch Potato Theater. We are discussing MegaForce 1982 40th anniversary. And Kyle, this is the remash. This is the first time we have done a movie again on Couch Potato Theater because, yes?
I'm going to say, with the length this podcast is running, not only is this the remash, this is the loaded rematch.
Yes. Come on, we're about an hour and 17 minutes-ish, and we still got more to cover. Here.
So you're saying it's not scattered, smothered, and covered?
Not yet. We'll get there.
This is the rematch that I get during Thanksgiving. Let's just put it that way. This is the Thanksgiving version of Couch Potato Theater, guys. All right, guys, we got some trivia here. We've already talked about some of this already. Of course, no costume designer. Costumes were made by Mattel. I did want to mention, though, as we said before, this was part of a $50 million slate of films from Golden Harvest Studios. That were targeting films like Blade Runner, 1985's The Protector, which is Jackie Chan, and High Road to China, which, Kyle, you know what? I've actually never seen this before, this Tom Selleck film with co-starring Bess Armstrong and Jack Weston. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that. That's something we might have to do some digging on around here.
Yeah. So, guys, there was a sequel that was titled Deeds, Not Words, but it was scrapped due to the poor performance of this film. How sad. But we're going to come back to that concept of the sequel later. Producers approached military officials for cooperation in designs of the vehicles used in the battles. The officials refused. When the film was released, those same officials were so impressed with the vehicles that they asked for the plans. The producers cooperated. Kyle, does this mean that in Delta Force and in SEAL Team 6, they were actually inspired by MegaForce vehicles and stuff like that?
Well, if we go back and watch, since you're appropriately wearing a Canon Film shirt right now, let's go back and look at the vehicles and motorcycles used in the movie The Delta Force. They might look a little familiar in their design. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I believe that came out in 83 or 84, if I remember correctly. Yes.
Maybe even 84, maybe 85 even, because I think it was after the TWA flight, because that was what inspired them to do the movie.
That's true. Yeah, definitely. Now, as you were mentioning before, Kyle, the rockets were actually model rockets manufactured by a company in Raytown, Missouri. The company was named Flight Systems Incorporated, or FSI. The filmmakers were so impressed with their accuracy over distance that they restaged some of the battle scenes. Except you can see a couple of them didn't quite take off well, Kyle.
All I'm going to say is for you anime fans out there, the rocket trails in Megaforce do Macross proud. That's all I'm going to say.
That's a good point. Davis, there's some things that haven't aged well in this film. One of them is the Confederate flag that Dallas is wearing, where all the other soldiers are wearing patches from their countries. Of course, during this time, there was a very popular TV series, as we all know, Dukes of Hazzard, that was rocking that as well. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, all right. Going back at that time, who didn't love to watch Dukes of Hazzard on Friday night? I mean, so that's one thing they probably got the idea from as well. But, and you know, Dallas, he did have a Southern accent, so they're probably thinking, oh, he's Southern redneckian, so let's put him with a Confederate flag, which I think it was the Union Jack, if I'm not mistaken, and that was one they used in the Navy.
For which character?
For the Confederate, for Dallas. I think that was a Union Jack Confederate flag. And because
I'm sorry, Davis, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Davis.
I was just going to say that was that flag was the one for the Navy, and I think the Shenandoah, which after a little bit of history trivia, after the Civil War was over for like 6 months, they still thought the battle was still going. They sunk like 2 or 3 vessels, and they ended up in, I forget, some part England where there's actually a Civil War museum there, or or it was there at one time. And that Union Jack is displayed there or something where they actually surrendered.
That sounds like the plot to Sahara.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of plots to different Star Trek episodes too.
I know, right? Yeah.
I was just gonna say too. Dallas right before they go on the final attack of Guerrera's forces, he puts the stars and bars on the back of his motorcycle too.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's true. By the way, I tried to find this. This was featured on the podcast, How Did This Get Made, on May 22nd, 2020. I actually looked it up on my iTunes. I couldn't find this episode. I wanted to listen to it, but maybe I just got to dive a little bit harder here. So we talked about like the lack of violence in this movie. And despite the battle scenes, not one person is seen dying on film. Only 3 men, a bazooka squad, are suggested to have been vaporized by the Megaforce control van. So... I wonder if they were just transported into jail. Maybe that's what it was. The film was rated G in Australia and New Zealand. I found this interesting. Barry Bostwick did not play in another theatrical film until Weekend at Bernie's 2 in 1993. This was 11 years after Megaforce. Do you think, Kyle, that maybe he just, I don't know, maybe it was this, do you think this film just hurt his career for a while?
I think it hurt his career, but he also had, if I remember correctly, he did a lot of like Broadway and theatrical things because he really did love the theater as well. So I think he did a lot. He was doing a lot of that at the time as well. But yeah, I'm sure this didn't help him in his career because this was we are talking about a time where you have one bomb and it could sink you.
It's true. What do you think, Davis? I mean, I think he would have been great in a bunch of other adventure action type roles. You know, it could have been like a cool cop or something like that as well.
Yeah, and it probably could have just been the simple fact that he may have just gone back to Broadway. Did it actually show like what he did after that or between that time?
I haven't looked it up, but I know he was busy on stage a lot. Kyle?
You know what role I could have seen him in? He would have made a very interesting Alan Quartermain.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That would have been really cool. Definitely. Yeah. Richard Chamberlain did that, didn't he? Is that who that did that?
Yeah, that was Richard Chamberlain who did that.
Yeah. Dallas tells General Byrne White, and some of the information Scuff has on him is, your daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. The line is taken from Gershwin and Dubois Hayward's composition Summertime from the opera Porgy and Bess. When Guerrera says that General Byrne White is a very model of a modern Major General is a reference, of course, to the Gilbert Sutherland composition I Am a Very Model of Modern Major General, of course, from the Pirates of Penzance, which, as we know, the producers saw Mr. Barry Bostwick perform in. So I thought that was interesting as well. The romantic silhouette, guys, don't know if you knew this. The romantic silhouette scene between Commander Hunter and Major Zara, Barry Bostwick uses his right hand to briefly cast a shadow which resembles some genitalia in profile. Asked at the time, he claimed it was accidental. However, in 2004 interview with Sight and Sound, the magazine of the British Film Institute, he admitted it had been intentional slight towards director Hal Needham, of whom he was involved in an unprofitable Ponzi scheme. Guys, here's the picture in question. I thought I'd show that to you guys there. I remember noticing this quite a few times. I kind of giggled at it. Kyle, I think this was intentional at the time.
Oh, there's no question this was intentional. I'm surprised Persis was able to keep a straight face while this was going on, especially once they saw the retake, the dailies.
Davis, any comments?
Not really, because you just have to wonder, like, what was going on at that time, and how no one caught that during the editing process amazes me.
I know, right? Definitely. Okay, guys, we have some accolades for this, and I want you guys to guess something. So this movie was the winner of 3 Golden Raspberry Awards in the 3rd year that the Golden Raspberry Awards were out. It won for Worst Picture, Worst Director. And by the way, I just want you guys to know that the Worst Picture nominations were Inchon, Annie, Butterfly, Megaforce, and The Pirate Movie. As I said, Worst Director, director for Pirate Movie, Inchon, Butterfly, Annie, and Megaforce. All those directors were nominated. But this was also nominated for another Razzie. Davis, do you care to take a guess what the 3rd Razzie was?
Special effects or glorious soundtrack?
No. Kyle, would you want to take a guess, or did you cheat?
I hope it's not Worst Actor.
It is in the acting category. Do you want to guess who?
I'm actually going to say Persis Khambatta might have been up for Razzie.
No.
Is it Barry?
Worst supporting actor, Michael Beck as Dallas. His competition was Ed McMahon in Butterfly, Ben Gazzara in Inchon, Ted Hamilton in The Pirate Movie, and Orson Welles in The Butterfly as well. Oh, man. All right, guys, let's talk about merchandising. We did touch on the toys a little bit, and you've been showing your toys as well, guys. But I got a couple of pictures here I did want to showcase regarding the toys here, guys. We've got, of course, Mattel produced the Vertibird and Hot Wheels playsets based on the MegaForce theme. A video game was also based on the film. We'll touch on that in a moment. But of course, we've got the Mega Destroyer, both the black version and the regular version that you showed up there, Davis, and also the personal carrier, which of course is Dallas's ship. But they also had the Mega Fighter tech vehicle, a tank, and apparently they had one of the motorcycles as well. Kyle,
if you look at this though, they're mislabeled. TACCOM is the 6-wheel vehicle. The Mega Fighter is supposed to be the motorcycle.
You're right. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, definitely. But there was also a international, I guess, an Asian release of a model of the Dune buggy. Boy, does that look pretty cool. Can I imagine how expensive that would be to find that in decent shape? Davis, do you want this?
Oh, man, that does look really, really sweet. Now, I will say this, when we're talking about merchandise, if you head over to bigbadtoystore.com, the toy company Fresh Monkey Fiction actually has been releasing different figures from their line of Eagle Force. And one of their lines actually has a MegaForce leader that looks so much like a certain Ace Hunter that it will be available next year.
That is so cool. Man, I really wish I can get one of those.
Oh, I think you might have one.
I love you,
Davis, my friend, I'm just going to suggest that you go over to Toy Ramen for me, and they might be working on a certain really small 80s line with transformable vehicles that wasn't Transformers that I might be interested in. That's just saying.
All right, real quick, guys, back to that Doom buggy that was released. I have information about this. I forgot. The Japanese model kit was released by Bandai in 1982 and called the MegaForce Mega Cruiser. This had a limited run and is considered rare and commanding a high price. But guys, 1982 Atari 2600 MegaForce video game also had a television ad featuring a very young Bryan Cranston. I looked this up on YouTube and watched it, guys. Did anyone ever play this game, Kyle?
I never played this game, but watching the ad for it, I was ready to say, by the same team that brought you E.T. for the Atari 2600.
Oh, not good. Davis, did you ever hear about the video game?
No, I never did. I mean, looking at it now, I'm going, wow, that kind of reminds me of the Empire Strikes Back game when you're trying to take out the AT-AT walkers.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. My MegaForce game was playing Excite Bike on the arcade game.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Getting those super jumps going.
Yes, that was my MegaForce was Excite Bike. So yeah. Okay, guys, we did touch briefly on the what if of the sequels here, and I did want to mention here that quote, and this is from the Future Wars story here regarding that. We know for a fact the director was planning a sequel called Deeds Not Words that was DOA, and this ended the story of MegaForce. But what if it wasn't? Many have pointed out that MegaForce was like a live-action G.I. Joe real American cartoon and toy line film well before the 2009 film, the G.I. Joe, 2009 film, that many of the rumors surrounded that connection. Some have suggested that the director and creator of MegaForce, Hal Needham, attempted to secure the rights to G.I. Joe, and when he was turned down, he made MegaForce instead. This goes on to say that they may not believe that, but I got to tell you, Kyle, I think he was really excited about doing this film. He put himself in the movie. He, was excited. He broke some bones and stuff riding with the motorcycles. What if this was true, that we would have gotten, a possible G.I. Joe film if Hal had his way?
It would have been very interesting. And I think it may have even, I don't know, it would have changed the landscape of G.I. Joe. And I don't know if it would have been for the good or not. I think it would have been probably a more successful film with the G.I. Joe brand behind it, because people would have recognized it compared to MegaForce. But it's also, you're also then talking about having to introduce Cobra and things like that. So it would have been a lot more complicated. I don't know if he gets the budget to do that.
Davis, we're G.I. Joe fans. We still watch the ones that came out. Snake Eyes was a disappointment. Can you imagine if they did do a film, the material that they had with the comics coming out? We might have gotten something, Vietnam flashback era, maybe thrown in with a little bit of the TV series. How amazing would that have been?
With the marketing that Hasbro had, and with the comics creator Larry Hama doing an awesome job with the writing, and Sumbo did an awesome job with the writing with the cartoon. Buzz Dixon was one of them. You have to think about it. If Hal Needham would have actually got the rights to make a live action movie, you're looking at Barry Bostwick as Duke, or since G.I. Joe was in the inceptions in 82, was just really getting going, that's also looking at the adventure team from the 1970s as well.
True.
So,
yeah.
You can look at a mix of the adventure team, then a real American hero. And then you also have Action Force, which was dealing with the Red Shadows in the United Kingdom as well.
Yeah.
Or Full Force, I would say. But, you look at that and you're going, what if? Like we talked about in the last podcast we were on, what if the movies that we had out today had the same marketing as they did in the 80s and the 90s?
Yeah.
We would have so much merchandise out.
I could totally see Flash, G.I. Joe Flash in this, with his laser and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, God, what could have been?
The original OG, we could have had all of them together. That would have been really sweet.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, guys, let's get into our wrap-up questions here. Okay, you guys brought this up in the chat, Kyle and Davis. So I'm going to put you to work here. If you could recast MegaForce now as a reboot or a sequel, maybe get Barry Bostwick back, who would you have star in the new film? Kyle, you brought this up first. You go first.
Okay, so when I did this, I've kind of done it on a few characters who would be the obvious choice, and then who would be my choice to mix it up a little bit. Because if I am filming MegaForce, I have my star in place for Ace, but I'm doing cameos like crazy in MegaForce. That's
okay. So who's your star? Who would be Ace Hunter? Okay, hold on. Is this a reboot or is this a like a remake?
This is a reboot of MegaForce. It's starting from scratch. First of all, my director is Justin Lin.
Yes.
Fast and Furious and Star Trek Beyond.
And G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Yes. The best G.I. Joe movie, Retaliation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Justin Lin is my director for this film. First and foremost, let's get that out of the way.
Okay.
I'm going with an interesting choice for my Ace Hunter because I think he can pull it off because he knows how to do over the top. I think he knows how to do just the kind of like that, even though he's on one of the most he's a bad guy on one of the most popular TV shows out there. But Kevin, you've seen him in something else that I think he can pull this off. And I am casting Anthony Starr as Ace Hunter.
Interesting. From The Boys and from Banshee. He plays Homelander. Yeah.
You can see, I can see him.
He's such an anti-hero. Tell me what, you got to convince me of this, Kyle, because I'm not convinced of this.
Because I think after doing The Boys for so long, he's going to look for doing something that he can have fun with and be the good guy in. And we know he's capable of faking it till he makes it. Thank you, Banshee. And I just think he could pull that level of Barry Bostwick off after doing so long as Homelander in The Boys, where he's kind of walking that line because he can get that cheesy smile going.
Okay.
He can do the action scenes.
Who do you have for the rest of the cast?
Okay, so for my Persis Khambatta's role, the obvious choice is Zara. The obvious choice is Gal Gadot. She's the obvious choice, but I am not going with the obvious choice.
I have a choice, but I'm going to see what yours is.
Ana de Armas from the latest James Bond film. She's tough, she's strong, but she has that exotic look to her.
Yeah,
she's stunning.
Good choice.
She is my choice for there. Now,
okay.
For Dallas, we can't do Dallas now. It's just it's too hard.
You could play a Southern guy, but you got to take away the.
No, I'm going I'm going in a totally different direction for Dallas.
Okay, all right.
I need a guy who's got some attitude, but he can zing some lines out. He's a guy who he's going to have his guys back. I am going with Michael B. Jordan as Dallas.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, good. All right.
Now, for the egg. Obvious choice is Simon Pegg. That's the obvious choice. But Kevin, I am doing a little gender swap here. I need somebody who is attractive, but can pull off the idiosyncrasies of Egg and come across smart. And there's only one person I can think of. We all love her. She's our Darcy. Kat Dennings is Egg.
Okay, hold on. You're just typecasting her now because of what she's done with WandaVision and the Thor movies. But I love it.
All right. I'm not done yet.
Okay.
I got a couple more here for you. Our general.
Okay.
Now, the obvious choice is Liam Neeson.
Ooh, okay.
But we're gonna
hold on real quick. I just want to give you props. You're throwing out the obvious choices, but then you're throwing in some curveballs here, and I love it. Go for it.
So I have two curveballs for you. Somebody who would be a little outside of the realm, and you might not think of it, but I think he would play this role very well, is Andrew Lincoln from The Walking Dead. We forget We forget he's British, and I think he could pull this off.
Put on a white lab coat and maybe some glasses, and I'll buy it.
But if you're doing a MegaForce reboot, we need a place to put Barry Bostwick. Barry Bostwick is our General Vern White in this movie.
Oh, there you go. Thank you for bringing him in. I appreciate that. Nice.
So,
I love it.
Give me a couple more here, real quick. We need some MegaForce team in here.
Okay.
We gotta have some more supporting team. First and foremost, I am having a hand-to-hand combat action member of MegaForce. We need some hand-to-hand. We didn't get that in the first film. We need that in our remake.
Okay. Go.
There's only one man for the job. Iso from the Raid, our man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and he could be like, one of the members, but you haven't thrown out a bad guy yet, Kyle.
Well, no, I'm
saving Guerrero?
Yeah, I've got a thought for that. I'm going to save that.
Okay.
Though. Let me finish my MegaForce side.
Okay.
We need a little more female presence.
Okay,
in our MegaForce. We need a badass.
Yes.
Michonne herself. Diana Garari.
Oh, yes. From Walking Dead. I like that. And also, of course, from Black Panther. Nice.
We need a little comic relief in our MegaForce, too. We need a guy who can do some comedy, be a little bit of a smart guy, and be the guy that everybody just likes.
Okay.
Stephen Yeun.
You're like just taking everyone from The Walking Dead, basically.
No. I'm sorry, but no. Here's where I've got just a couple of more. So we have our Lopez and six killer, the guys who were left behind, set up this is our superstar spot. We need two guys that are the heroes on every mission. So for this scene, these two guys, it's The Rock and it's Jason Statham. For these two guys, they're the heroes in all the other films anyway. So
they're playing the guys by the depot that are just filling rockets and fueling up stuff. You might as well throw in Stallone too and get the whole.
Well, yeah. Okay. Our Hal Needham role, Statcom.
Okay.
Another cameo. Chris Pratt has to be Statcom because the smart ass. The remarks coming from Statcom would be great coming from Chris Pratt. And finally, for my MegaForce, we need our Eagle One pilot. We don't even need to see him on screen. We just need to hear those smart-ass remarks of Ryan Reynolds.
Hold on. No, Ryan Reynolds should be flying the C-130s, right?
That's what I'm saying. He's Eagle One. He's Eagle Flight. And finally, for our villain, there is only one man in the entire world that can properly play our version of Guerrera, and his name is Pedro Pascal.
Yes! Davis, I'm so sorry I let Kyle go first. Any others, Kyle? You're on a run here. I'm loving this. No,
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
All right, Davis. Did you have anyone that Kyle has not chosen?
So I'm just going to tell you, Kyle, you and I were on the same page with a couple of these because what I was thinking for Guerrera was Pedro Pascal as well.
Okay, that's obvious. That's almost too obvious, but it's so perfect you can't say no to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was also thinking of TACCOM. Would be played by none other than John C. Reilly.
Yes,
that's a good one. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yes. I was also thinking Eagle One would be played by none other than Bill Burr.
That would be good.
His co-pilot, you know what? It should be Bill Burr, and his co-pilot should be Tom Cruise. I love Bill Burr. That's a great. Oh man, snark. I love it.
So I was thinking of doing a little gender swap with Six Killer.
Okay.
Katie Sackhoff.
Oh, nice. Oh, very good. I like that.
I looked at Suki.
Okay.
Who was would be played by I might mispronounce his name, so forgive me. Paul Sun Hung. Who played he was in The Mandalorian, the X-Wing pilot.
Oh yes, he was in that comedy series too.
Kim's Convenience,
Yes, Kim's Convenience. Yes, yes.
which is a great show. If you've never watched it, loved it.
Yes. Yeah.
I was also looking at Ekstrom, be played by Toby Jones.
Toby Jones. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
a great choice. Wow.
Yeah, I was looking at Zach Taylor, who was the 12th president of the United States, and he was also only in office for 16 months. Died of
Yes.
cholera. Michael Pena.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Michael
that's a good one.
Pena. Yes. I love
No,
that.
Michael
That is
Pena's our
great.
narrator. Michael Pena must be the narrator for everything we do.
That's two on the nose. But hold on, who would do the opening like of who MegaForce?
Oh,
Are we
there's
doing
only
the
one answer.
obvious with Morgan?
Yeah. Morgan Freeman or Samuel Jackson?
No, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, Harrison Ford would be
Yeah,
good too.
Harrison
There you
Ford.
go. Davis, anyone else?
Bryn White. I was thinking of something just different and unique because I've seen him be a general in many different TV
Remind me
shows
who
and
he
movies.
is.
He played Devin in Knight Rider, the older guy.
Oh,
No, that
okay.
was yeah. The Bren White. That was what Miss Muldoon played. Yeah. So who
Yeah.
do you have for Bren White? Bren White.
Completely out in left field. Robert Patrick.
That's good.
So-
Wow.
Dallas. I was thinking of a badass as well. I had two choices.
All
I was
right.
looking at that. One, Anthony Mackie
That'd be good too.
Yes. I like
Or-
that one.
Chris Pratt.
Okay. I
All
can see
right.
Chris
Who's your
in that,
ace?
yeah.
Who's your ace?
And then who's my ace hunter? Is none other than Nicolas Cage. He
wanna
gives
see
it
that.
all 100% in every movie he does, and I thought this would
He's
be
he's a
so-
little old for the reboot, but I would so see that.
I would too. He is a little older, but he would be so hilarious in that movie.
Oh my God.
There's
That
two
is
other
great.
names I can throw out for Ace Hunter too. Stephen Amell
Okay, good.
Yeah.
and a guy who I think Kevin, we've talked about him. We both like him. He's on the verge of superstardom. I don't know if he'd be a little too physically big for the character, but Alan Richmond from Reacher.
Yeah, he's a little too big, I think. But okay, guys, when you just so you know, I kind of let you guys decide to really think about the casting stuff because I didn't put much thought into it because you brought it up today, Kyle, and I thought that was great. And by the way, great choices. Oh God, now it's just painful that there's not a reboot of this. But I did think of two people, one for Ace and one for I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the girl's main name. Zara, Persis Khambatta's character.
Yeah.
All right, hear me out here, guys. Because of the way Barry plays Ace Hunter, Justin Timberlake.
That's actually a dark horse. That's a good dark horse. I like that.
Because he is funny. If you have not
Yeah.
seen him in his comedy roles, and especially on Saturday Night Live, he is hilarious. Persis Khambatta's character, Zara, hear me out here. Mila Kunis. Here's why. Okay. Her family is from Russia and she speaks Russian.
Yeah.
And I thought that she could pull off that accent as well. And don't know if you guys know this or not, but she's rather attractive.
You know who I'd also throw in as an underdog for that role?
Yes.
Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh, good choice. Maybe a little on the older side, but I would love that. She's really cute.
Now,
she's
here's another thought too. I thought about gender swapping Bern White, and there's only one choice: Helen Mirren.
Oh yes, especially after you see her in Reds. You know she's really good in that. Oh yes, playing the major. Yeah, perfect. Okay, well done, guys. Well done. All right, guys, we got one more thing to talk about here. Please give us your final thoughts on this movie. And where does it currently stand in your fandom? Easy question, Davis.
I love the movie. I think it's just so much fun, and it's just an enjoyable movie. I recommend anyone just to watch it, but don't look at it from the sight of 2022. Look at the sight as when you were a young kid, and just enjoy the movie.
Well said. Kyle.
This is a movie that I think is mandatory any father and son watch together, because I think it's that much fun. And I think it's that kind of movie that could bond a father and son together just because of what it is. And you got to have the right age for your kid, maybe like about a 10, 11-year-old when they're really into this kind of thing. And it's one of those movies that makes you feel good after you've watched it. And it's, you know what it is. You don't have it. You don't sell it with expectations. You just go in and say, watch this, enjoy what it is, enjoy the time it represents, and just roll with it and enjoy it. And, you know, you've got cool vehicles. You've got a beautiful lead. You've got a awesome lead actor playing it just right and playing it just at that line. You've got action. You've got some suspense. You've got a little bit of everything. And it's also a time capsule of early 80s film, and then what it represented and what it was made. And I think it's nowhere near a perfect movie, but it's a perfect movie to watch.
I don't know what you're talking about, Kyle. This movie's perfect. I know what you mean, but the feels for me are perfect in this film.
Exactly.
I saw it at the right time in the theater. It's one of those films that I'm proud to have seen in the theater. And I have to revisit this at least once a year, if not more than that. And I love that the fandom, whenever we mention it on social media, because we always throw it out or we'll throw up, there's always the Ace Hunter memes when he's doing this and, with holding his thumb up and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone saying, oh my God, that movie sucked, because I think that it hit us at a certain age at a right time. And it's a good family film too. There's like not any violence in it. Yes, it's cheesy fun, but for me, as much as I love the vehicles and I love some of the action scenes, I'm now more invested in the characters. I'm more invested in the moments and the jokes and the silly jokes, which I love, and I think they had a fun time filming this. I gotta say, and it's just really fun to visit. All right, guys, I actually do have one more quick question. Our final 5x5 question, guys. What happens next? What do you think happens either 5 minutes after, the movie, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, or 5 years after the movie? Does that date happen? Does something happen with Guerrera and Ace? Kyle, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, well, 5 days after a week-long not leaving the Lion's Head hotel room, Ace gets called away on another mission, and they never see each other again, because that Ace doesn't exist really. All MegaForce members are dead or something else. So it's a great fling. It has its moments, and I got to add, 5 years from now, he runs back into Guerrera in some dive bar in some South American town, and they just relive all moments, and Guerrera steals back the lighter.
I love that. Davis, what about you? You can choose 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, or 5 years.
Let's do 5 years. But one thing you got to remember: at the end of this movie, there is a stinger. It's a replay of the last scene, but there is a stinger in there. And I think in my mind, which would set up a perfect sequel, he goes to the Lion's Head Hotel, and then 15 years later, he discovers he has a son, and he is training him to be a part of a new next generation of MegaForce.
Interesting. I like that. That's really, really cool. I'm going to choose 5 years later myself. I like the idea of Guerrera being captured. He's in jail somewhere. And I would like to see something happen where Ace, out of loyalty to his friend, because he receives a letter from his buddy, or maybe a secret message, and I would love to see them actually become friends and work together. Maybe breaks him out of prison or something like that. And he, Guerrera finally says, I apologize for what I did with that country or something like that. Something to get them on the right side. How cool would it be to see Guerrera and Ace actually rekindle their friendship and work on a really bad, a really like global type of villain situation, Kyle, what do you think?
Well, no, actually 5 years from now, what happens is that Ace Hunter and Guerrera both join the Expendables.
I see what you're going there. I like that.
All right,
sorry.
Kevin,
go ahead, Kyle.
Quick. The true sequel to this, in honor of the best film of the summer so far, when MegaForce Hunter comes out.
MegaForce Hunter, yes. All right, guys, this has been a lot of fun, but let's discuss the ending here. Let's go ahead and close on out of this here. First of all, you've been listening to the Fandom Podcast Network here, and of course, Couch Potato Theater. We're celebrating MegaForce 1982 40th anniversary. Guys, first of all, thank you so much for joining. This has been a lot of fun. But let's find out where we can find things here. First of all, you can find the Fandom Podcast Network first on YouTube. If you're listening to this, please go watch it on YouTube. If you're watching this, thank you. Give us a like, give us a comment. Please give us a subscribe, give us a share as well. Fandom Podcast Network, of course, is also on Facebook. And you can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. Fandom Podcast Network is also on Twitter and Instagram. And our audio podcast are on all major podcast platforms. Our master feed for all of our audio podcasts can be found at fpnet.podbean.com. My name is Kevin. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix. Kyle, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at AKyleW or at Instagram at AKyleFandom. And now that this podcast is coming to an end, Kevin, I'm going to go call your girl.
I see what you did there. Davis, first of all, thank you so much for coming on, man. And how can people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Springer_2017. And Kevin, I just have to ask, is it okay if I call your girl?
You know what? Kyle's doing it. Why not? Everyone's doing it. God, that was so funny. Oh, well said, guys. Thank you guys so much. Kyle, appreciate you. Davis, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us here on the Fandom Podcast Network for our special remash of MegaForce 1982, celebrating its 40th anniversary. Until next time, I will see you on the couch. Thank you and goodbye. And remember, we just wanted to say goodbye and remind you that the good guys always win in the 80s. No, Kyle, where else do we win?
In the 2020s.
That's right. Thank you, guys. Again, next time we will see you on the couch.